Welcome to the Tough Talks Cool Down. Today's segment's brought to you by Weimers Insurance Group, one of the largest independent real estate agents in Texas. For home, auto, commercial, please feel free to reach out to David. He just saved us about $6,000 on a building. They have hundreds of providers. One of the best things you can do to save yourself money when you're checking out your line items, trying to save yourself money, is reach out to Weimers Insurance Group and get a quote. I think he told me, correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, he does about 20 new policies a day or more, if I remember correctly.
Unreal. Unreal.
You can reach out to him at 281-344-2557 or weimersinsurancegroup.com to save yourself money up to $5,000 or $7,000, even more. Reach out to Weimers Insurance. So we had David on for the first time. He's one of the more successful insurance agents in the country, but he talked about how insurance could really save a real estate deal. What did you take from the podcast?
Yeah, I can't, I'm looking forward to hearing you expand on that in the ways that it can, but welcome virtually. This is our first remote session we're doing here, and we love the setup. So hopefully we'll be bringing more guests outside of Texas on the Tough Talk, and this is what our little practice round is for. So thanks for accommodating, Tim. I just really took away from him is insurance not being a one-size-fits-all product. Understanding there are so many different offerings, but then also understanding the difference of when those guys go out, they do start their own shop or brokerage versus these national ones. And it really comes down to, how he grows and being able to offer to all of his clients. That just shows how relationship is so very important to him. So he organically grew into that space by just still wanting to service his clients. So that speaks mountains in itself. So go ahead.
The most interesting thing he really talked about is he does 30 new transactions. It's 20 to 30. I can't remember. I can go back and listen. New policies a day. Where that's intriguing as a salesperson, and even though I'm in real estate sales, imagine what my world looks like if I build a team that brings in 20 new listings a day or 20 new buyers a day, or just 5 new buyers a day. If we do 30 transactions in a month, that's a great month for us. That guy's doing 30 transactions a day. How big can you build your real estate team? That's what I took from it. I thought that was fantastic.
It really is, but it all goes down to metrics and scaling, right? He spoke about, inspect what you expect, right? So he obviously built those systems, and that seems like it was the trend with these guests is their systems were paramount to their success. Yep. Planning, making sure the team understands those systems and sticking with them. I heard you had mentioned, like getting salespeople is together and to align is sometimes like herding cats, which we all know it's a new system. It may get implemented. It may go to the wayside, and there may be a new shiny toy out there within a couple of years or 6 months maybe. But what he's done is to say that he can do that many policies that he's writing. What are those metrics and how did he get to those? That's really the part that I took away because, as business ownership, whether it's real estate, whether it's insurance, I think good systems can help you reverse engineer your whole process. With your system, that can let you know what your capacity is before you have to find out the hard way, which is, poor service to a client, mismanaging a deal, under-promising, not over-delivering, right? So that was my takeaway with that. So I'm anxious to hear about, your takeaway on how that gets involved with real estate, being that you do manage a lot of agents and you're comfortable taking your team over to Weimers too.
Right. So the one thing he said that I think is really important, and again, not enough. So if you're a real estate agent out there, the one thing I think you take from this more than anything is start working on the insurance binder, have your homeowner work on their insurance binder earlier, or it can delay you getting paid. It can delay your client getting a home. It can delay you getting a deal. So get with the insurance agent sooner. So that's one thing I took from it. But the other thing I took is we're all business people. And I just taught a class today. You were there briefly. And the one thing I talk about, you have a choice whether to teach this, treat this like a business or treat it like a hobby. And David Weimers has a business plan. He follows a business plan versus treating this as a hobby. And I think a lot of real estate agents and a lot of small-time insurance agents are guilty of treating their business like a hobby. They don't have a business plan. They don't know how many calls they have to make a day. Weimers has that dialed. So I think that's what I took most from it, is just how dialed his business is, where he has a dial where he can bring in 30 new policies a day. That's crazy.
It is. And I'm sure he's got a large-sized team, but I think he had metrics when he had a smaller team or when he was starting out, because metrics, those are achievements, those are goals. And then what do you do with those goals when you meet them? You look at the next step, right? A couple of things that I really liked, how he really took to, if there's a niche, there's a need, right? That's pioneering products. That's going out and finding new products. So, him going out on his own again, it freed him from being, say, pigeonholed in certain offerings. So he knew that next step, right? So being daring to go after that, just to service your customers, and finding, okay, there's a niche, let's go find, or there's a need, let's go find that niche, like finding those offerings. And if they weren't offered to his national shop, he went out, opened his own, and now he has hundreds, if not thousands, of product offerings in the insurance space. So it's wild. Then offering to pilot the new opportunities, apps and opportunities. I think that was paramount. Like you can't be that successful with those metrics without getting there without softwares and systems, right?
Yeah, I think he talked about, he does get to pioneer. He's so successful, he gets to pioneer. And the real estate business, what that works out to is, there's a line that I love, is the people who get the most free stuff don't need it. If a professional athlete goes to a restaurant, they get a free meal. They don't need the free meal, they get it, right? If Lady Wilson, called and asked me to sell her house, she's probably going to get a pretty big discount. So I can tell everybody I worked with Lady Wilson, right? Hey, lady, if you need to sell a house, by the way, we're here for you. But make yourself into that person that people call the test pilot things. And David's done that. There's one source of business that I have that called me several years ago and said, hey, we're going to start sending you referrals. We're going to send you 2 or 3 listings a month. We're just going to keep 25% of that. And I was okay with that, of course, who wouldn't be? But you start getting more opportunities the bigger you are. I thought that was really interesting. And when I go back to, thinking of those professional athletes that I see sit beside me, the manager comes over and comps their bill, it's like, Drew Brees doesn't need a free dinner.
No, he doesn't.
In New Orleans, I don't think he's ever paid for a meal, and that's just Super Bowl. So there you go.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. But that just shows that when you build your own brand like that, and the chance or the opportunity of them getting that recommendation or that thumbs up from you is that's winning in their eyes, right? So it's great. And you see a lot of marketing going that way through affiliate marketing, and this person posts about it, it's going to do X. So those are they're crossing over to all types of business. And so, thinking outside of the box, getting creative with all your systems, because, when you go into this, and there's always going to be someone that has done it until it gets to, no, that this hasn't been done before. We're going to fall on our face a few times. Let's pioneer it, but we're going to learn from it and extract those systems into a successful model.
So I would say another thing that's interesting that people probably didn't catch in the podcast is we didn't have David Weimers on just because he's our sponsor. We didn't have him on because he saved me money. We didn't have him on because he runs a successful business. Although all of those things are great, that guy owns more real estate than I do. So
that's unreal.
Right. David Weimers buys a lot of real estate. So it's really interesting. He has a successful business. He just turned down a multi-million-dollar offer to sell his business, and he's out still buying real estate. So one of the main reasons we had him on is he's a successful real estate investor. So what if you have a successful business in insurance or anything, you should be buying real estate. I think that's a really neat lesson to kind of, I don't know if leave this cool down with. But I think it's really important to know that that guy owns more real estate than I do. That's a really good reason to listen to that guy and listen to the advice he gives. So,
no, 100%. I mean, diversification, and it looks like instead of, his system's working, right? Maybe he doesn't want to go buy a book of business that in the insurance agency that's not aligned to his methods, right? Instead, he pivots and allocates those dollars into real estate where he knows he's going to have that uplift, right? So it's smart. He's growing his way and he's diversifying. So I think that's one thing that, any type of business can benefit from, having those morals, foundations, practices. It's paramount.
Well, thank you so much for visiting us on this or watching this episode of The Cool Down. We're grateful to have you. We'll see you next segment.
Yes, sir.
The Weimers Insurance Group is one of the top independent insurance companies in the country, featuring hundreds of providers. They've recently saved my wife and I over $6,000 versus a rival insurance provider. So for a chance for high-quality insurance for home, auto, business, or if you're a developer and need site development, make sure to reach out to the Weimers Insurance Group. You can call them at 281-344-2557 or weimersinsurance.com. That's WIEMERS insurance.com. So if you like saving money, or as an agent, if you need to save a deal, reach out now.